Ah, salutations, class, and welcome back. It's Saturday night, and I did promise a gorilla stream, so I think we can get back to Dead Cells. I haven't played it in, well, all week. It's been almost 2 weeks since we last played it. And we are getting close to the end of our adventure, approaching 5 BC, but even should we beat it on 5 BC in a matter of the next few streams, I don't plan on dropping this game, as it is one of my all-time favorites. Join me, and we shall begin. Those of you who were here for the last stream will remember that we just finished conquering 4 BC. 3 BC. So now we're on 4 BC. And as is customary, I think we only have one more daily run we might have to complete. So to warm up, as always, we begin with this. And there we go. High Peak Castle. Not bad. No, give that back to me. It will probably be really hard though, as we won't have equipment for enemies that are designed to be fought later in the game. So let's see if we can speedrun to go find some more equipment. It's a start, but I really need more weapons. There, we're doing a little bit better after that first scroll. Let's check our map real quick. We should be going down and... to the left. Today we have an awfully short route to the boss. I wonder where the fire came from. We're only gonna get points from KOing these guys, so it might just be better to look for a scroll instead. Hack and slash, dive down here. Smoke bomb. That's actually not gonna help us KO the boss any quicker. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can pick up 1 or 2 more scrolls before we proceed. Well, I did say we needed more weapons. I suppose this works. More importantly, this lets us gather a little bit of extra ammo to use versus the boss. And it looks like... yeah, we might have all of that. Ooh. Not a bad choice, but we can't really use any of those. And we've already built up enough souls off the ferryman's lantern, so let's keep with it. After all this time, we've only found 2 scrolls. With 2 minutes left on the clock, I think it would be good to go ahead and accelerate immediately towards the boss. Honey, I'm home. And one more shot. Speed past him like that. And there we go. Give me 4 and I'll do it in 3. I think that might be the end. Indeed, that is the last of our daily challenge rewards, so we won't need to be doing that in the future. return back to the hub, and we'll begin our 4BC run. Now, one challenge I had in mind might have been going ahead with the idea of only using new equipment once we have it available to us. Last time we beat it on a survival build, and sadly I do not actually see enough brutality items here, which would leave as the least played of our build types. So let's go ahead and just give ourselves a survival start. What the heck. Let's go ahead and keep it survival as we continue. Parry that. Hit. And continue. Again, Rampart is the single best shield in the game. It single-handedly enables a lot of weapons that otherwise would be too slow to actually get anything done. Sure, you can go for a face tank build, but you have to be very specific with your equipment. Oh yeah, here's our new enemies. We no longer have to face zombies. Instead, they have been replaced by failed experiments and all levels in 4BC and beyond. I think zombies do show up for a couple of boss fights as a couple of flunkies, but that's about it. Now that we're on 4BC, and accordingly getting close to the final stretch, I think we'll go ahead and get ourselves some weapon upgrades and exclusively, once they become available to us, do runs with new items. Parry. Parry that, give me some defense to enable me, and continue. You know, we do have the opportunity to play a Berserker. You know what, let's actually switch to Brutality instead, and use Brutality-oriented items. With Face Flask and Tonic, we can give ourselves a little bit of extra durability and go ahead and fight our enemies with that. We can end up getting a lot of damage. Damage you take is inflicted on the enemy. Let's go ahead with this one instead. And for now, no. Welcome, Kayla. Welcome. We only just began. We finished up our first daily run, and we'll be continuing with what seems to be a brutality build from here on out. We'll also be showcasing a lot of the weapons we haven't yet unlocked, as we are getting comfortably into the late game of Dead Cells. So since we have a lot of our previous progress under our belt, we can go ahead and relax a bit. Welcome, ETG. Glad to see you again. Ah, 3PO. So glad to see you again too. How have you been doing, even though I believe we just had this conversation a couple of days ago? Parry. And give him the old one too. I did watch your little video, ETG, thank you. warms my heart to hear such positive reception of my performance. Alright, that is full health and both scrolls obtained. There's a shop down there. Let's actually see if we can find ourselves a spite sword, which would enable a very interesting brutality build here. Brutality focus. No. And no. No. Looks like no. And at that point, all the weapons are far too expensive for us. What is our least traversed biome at this point? I don't know that we have one. You know, Morass of the Banished is one of our least traveled biomes, and to get there, we're best off going through, dilapidated Arboretum. So let's head there. I don't remember him saying hi twice. But I understand. A few folk can be a little bit shy in their first arrival. So they gave us an entire selection of tactics items. No matter. Instead, what we can do here is pick up a couple of new weapons, and it doesn't even matter if they are brutality focused. What we'd like to do... We cannot unlock the Queen's weapon there. Do we have any poison synergy? Covers the ground around you in flammable oil. Oh, he gave me a shout out too. I didn't notice. Let's go ahead with... Vengeance. There it is. See if you can pair that with a high damage weapon. Actually, one weapon I've been wanting to show you a long time is Valmont's Whip. See if there's another powered we'd like to use instead. Ooh, Assault Shield. This is another good item, especially if we are wanting to be quick. 140, meaning we are making marvelous progress. So much faster since the new year as well, which I'm proud of. Now, this can actually make for a very interesting style Berserker build. I have an idea. Tonic. Not necessary. We can go ahead and leave that behind. Get rid of the broadsword as well. Now, I don't think the assault shield would be a better... no. We might want to go ahead and pick up the assault shield while we're here. Let's do that. This is also an item that enables a lot of speedrun specific strategies. In fact, if things get too troublesome, we'll go ahead and leave that in the backpack. Now I'm gonna need to... There it is. So if you shield and then immediately roll, you get a very long and far dash. So a lot of speedrunners will go ahead and use the assault shield item. Also, the biggest change we have with 4BC now is I don't think we get any more health restore flasks whatsoever. Aside from buying in the shops, we won't get any free ones at all. Upgrade you, and nothing left. Now we continue. Now, the strategy here is we should be able to keep ourselves a little bit safer using Valmont's Whip from a distance. This is a weapon that scores critical hits if you attack enemies at a specific distance, indicated by the small sparkle at the tip of the whip. we might be able to build a very interesting sort of berserker-style build. I'm a bit less concerned with getting the bonus cells and such from the bonus doors. Puckin, or Pagan, one of the two. Welcome. Do help me with the pronunciation of that. One of the other important features of the whip here is it will pierce through the shields of the Mushroom Boy enemies, which otherwise are capable of blocking most attacks. Activate that flask, roll forward. And whip it good. We might actually have a bit of anti-synergy between the Valmont's whip and the assault shield, as we'll generally want to keep ourselves positioned farther away. Go ahead and swap those out. Put this in the backpack, and continue. Like so, we want to stand still when we parry. Keep ourselves at a distance, and whip our opponents from afar. Ah, Puckin. Spanish minutes, hold on. Yeah, Puckin. Okay. I miss Spanish. It's a wonderful language, but I actually haven't had much of a reason to use it since the classes in high school. Oh, he's waiting on his Mushroom Boy to arrive. Mushroom Boy is gravely disappointed that he can't go see his dad. Yeah, so you'll see the icon here next under the door, or above the door but under the text, Morris of the Banished. That is now an incentivized biome, as we traverse there very seldomly. So we'll get some bonus golden cells if we go to one of our less traveled places. Another feature of 4BC is that enemies will actually teleport to us now, if we are detected by them and then try to run. Wait, that was a Spartan Sandal. That actually would have been really good on this build. Kick our opponents away and then whip them while they're at a distance. Nothing up top there, so we'll turn right back around to the teleporter. And it looks like there's a few untraversed areas in this room right here. Cat, don't you dare disrupt me. Get down. Ah, you little rascal. What's in here? Light speed, a good idea, but one we're not gonna need. Random weapons, let's go ahead with brutality. Inflict a critical hit when you have less than 50% health or more than 50% malaise. This is not a new weapon. I would like to showcase the whip a little bit more. But that would actually be very interesting on a Berserker build similar to what we're doing. Preferably with the bonus of, say, a tonic. I think I wouldn't say Spanish is necessarily a villainous language. I actually quite like the fact that it's phonetic coming from someone who understands the nuances and difficulties of English and absolutely despises French. How about I 4BC or welcome to the stream, Rez? I'm so happy to see you too. I have no idea what that's supposed to even mean. Honestly, the only thing I'd say, or the only thing I'd think that would keep Spanish from being, in my opinion, the perfect language, is the fact that it has so much conjugation to go with. But that does actually give an interesting perspective. Since Spanish is so widely spoken, it does have a bunch of different ways it has evolved. I see you have been getting Punch-Out videos in your recommendations as well. I wonder why they're being picked up by the algorithm. And parry, and whip. And parry, and whip, and whip. We won't be needing that amulet. Go ahead and hit you. Activate our Berserker damage buff. Which, heck, that just makes us one-shot the little bird. And even one-shot some of the tougher enemies as well. Interesting. Since we can keep ourselves a little bit safer at a distance, it's not bad taking a little bit of damage here and there. In fact, we might even do away with the shield if we find another weapon which complements our build. Hey Rez, you gonna be around for Strive sets later tonight? I have a friend I'd like you to meet, but unfortunately he does have sort of a inconsistency on when he's able to show up for these sorts of things. I'm completely out of the indie horror game sphere, so I don't really know anything about Poppy's playtime. Leg hugger. No. Hey DM, I will shoot you. Indeed. You know what? I'll go ahead and message him now. See if he's available. I was thinking about doing maybe one run, which will usually last about an hour and a half, or an hour, depending on if I succeed or fail respectively. There. He is informed, and should I have a response from him before the end of the night, I'll go ahead and tell. But it might be anywhere between an hour to 2 hours that I'd actually be back on for Strive. Whip and whip. And what are we furthest behind on? Survival. Give me that damage buff. And yeah, okay. An extra 60% damage just cuts through these enemies. Parry that entire sequence. And there, a little suboptimal, but good enough. One of those horror games where he plays a toy worker and he goes trouble in Ben Toy Factory and uses hand machines to get... Oh, is it like one of those claw machines sort of things? I'll admit, I'm a little less interested in the horror kind of things. Wait, Cocoon would have been a wonderful item. We could have used that as a parry utility skill when we didn't have a shield to do the same thing. I forget, can we actually travel to the Morass of the Vanished from the prison? That is a pen. But funny enough, you have seen how... Let's see, that is a 4-pan 6L versus a 6S. That's actually lower damage than the weapon we already have. Which is a little saddening. I'm thinking legendary weapons might be fundamentally a better thing to find either later in your run, or when they're off-color but complementary to your build. Say, if we were doing a Berserker run with Brutality, and happened to find a legendary tonic, that would scale in power with our Brutality skill, but would actually help a Berserker build. Aren't those all sock monkeys that have the baseball mitt-shaped hands? That is just about everything considerable from the biome here, so we'll go ahead on to Prison Depths. Oh yeah, Rez. I got another one of those sandwiches earlier today, but I could not take a good picture of it regardless. I tried. I tried every angle, but the darn thing was just falling apart. We did already select some weapons, so let's go ahead and upgrade the Hunter's Mirror here, and then we can focus on the Forge after we beat the first boss. Right, I keep trying to open that. We'll probably trade out the Vampirism. We actually haven't been taking enough damage for it to make much of a difference. I think there's actually a patch that's supposed to rework it, because that kind of falls behind basically every other weapon. The rest of our build is fine. We actually have a little bit of freeze synergy between our shield and our whip. Wait. Yeah. Our parry shield does have freeze. So, let's go ahead with... I think Adrenaline just gives us a little bit of life restoration, which we'll definitely need. Not that we're taking too much damage, but enough to offset the little bit of damage we take from using the flask over and over again. Now, the most important thing to remember is that we will not be able to use it at all whatsoever. Ooh. Now that is an excellent choice in shield. We are not able to use it at all whatsoever while we are cursed. So I will firmly keep my finger off of that trigger. Of course. It's been 30 minutes. We'll start another run. More accurately, it was about 20. Feel free to insult my mistakes in the chat, as always. I like the look of this equipment set. Let's go ahead with this one. And we'll go again for another Brutality build, and this time, I think we can go... Wait, no. Actually, I think we have mostly ranged weapons available to us, including some two-handed weapons. Change of plans. Let's go for survival. And since we have a cocoon, we can put a two-handed weapon to great use. Let's go ahead and pop those out. Survival. Parry that. Like I said, they teleport after you if you try to escape. We might have quite a bit of trouble at the beginning here. Go ahead, pick up the cherry, continue onward, get that parry, and... Perfect triple parry there. As much as I love the spiked shield here, not going to stick with it for too long. I'll put the cudgel in the backpack. We might actually go ahead and try to use that with an acrobatic pack build, since we are going to use a two-handed weapon in the first slot. There are a couple of golf games around that I would enjoy playing. Ones that I have, indeed. Lots of mini golf games that actually look like they'd be very, very fun to play. I've only had about 1 or 2 separate games with a lot of my other friends. Carry. Excellent. Okay. Also, there's generally a lot more enemies, so it's harder to keep track of everything going on at once. This is actually why I continue playing with shield builds, as you're able to consecutively parry a lot of enemies. Probably the best build in the game would be one that uses a ranged weapon in one hand and a shield in the other. Which there are a few tactic shields available. No. Although we will be staying away from most of our enemies, we are going to be running a survival build for the most part. Crusher probably works best for us. Go ahead and pop that down, and we'll have a lot of supplementary damage, and a way to keep enemies from approaching us while we're using a ranged weapon. There's a few crossbows in this game, and they're all, interestingly enough, two-handed survival and tactics weapons. And again, the Crusher has the stun lock capability on most enemies. I have, unfortunately, and go ahead and unfollow me for this, but I have never played a Bomberman game in my life. Alright, that's it. Let's go... Promenade of the Condemned. Another good environment for ranged weapons. Although those dummies are going to give us a lot of trouble for trying to approach. Though we don't necessarily have to approach if we're using a ranged weapon. Sell all of these as we want none of them. Give me one of your crossbows. Heavy explosive or ice? Let's go with explosive, but go ahead and start investing towards ice as well, just in case we do get KO'd again. I think it actually would be better for us to bank cells towards items that aren't yet ready to be unlocked. Spike shield, get rid of. Balance blade, also get rid of. Ooh, right. Oh, interesting. They're separate for upgrades. Alright, I'll bite. We do have kill rhythm. Let's actually give that a try. This makes for a very interesting build, and later on we might actually switch to the ice crossbow. Which might even work better with kill rhythm. So what kill rhythm does is, as long as you alternate attacking between your first and second weapons, you get faster attack speed. which its cap increases the more points in survival you get. We're gonna have to go around and get this. Really? Using left trigger also triggers the item in my right slot. What's going on here? What? Okay, so... I'm pressing my left trigger with that. Why does it register right trigger? Hold on. Let me actually find a little bit of a safer spot. Yeah, get rid of this guy first. Let me find a different controller. This controller might actually be broken. Because I'm hitting the left trigger and it's registering a right trigger input. Let me go find that other gamepad. Alright, controller plugged in. This one has a bit of a loose stick. I can't remember if it actually had any other issues. Let's go ahead and mess with that controller there. Same model, but it is a different pad. Left skill. Okay, this one seems to actually be more functional for that. So, let us resume. Wiggle myself back up here. And we should be good. Indeed. Okay, so it does not trigger both skills at the same time when I press left trigger. That is bizarre. But there's a reason I picked up the fight stick and don't use pad anymore, and that's one of the reasons why. That would certainly explain a lot of the weird behaviors I've had in some games. I am sorry, gamepad, for the abuse I have put you through. Ooh. Survival here. More damage, as you know, is always important. And... yeah, we'll continue on this way. Which has a lore room available for us. A whole bunch of plants that seem to have been a bit underwatered recently. Looks like this guy loved flowers. All the fabric from the bed seems to have been torn up and used elsewhere. There's a label on the pot. Do not water after midnight. The thing planted here looks less like a flower than an experiment gone horribly wrong. I definitely have no involvement in that. I am not a botanist. None whatsoever. Guess they wanted to choose the time of his death. He's holding a faded flower between his fingers. A moment of silence. Nah. Yeah, we'll get a little bit of extra health from having a point in brutality, rather than tactics, in case we do take damage up here soon. No need to apologize, Decursion. We did actually lose our first run, so we are starting anew here. Come on, get up here. We do not care for that Frost Blast, so continue. We don't necessarily need to take the route for acceptance, and I actually think we can leave that undiscovered. We probably don't have a use for that mutation, and I don't think I've ever actually used it in my time. Aside from trying to find a way for it to be viable, but getting cursed every time you find food isn't really great. It's a hindrance, if anything. What is interesting is using that in conjunction with alienation, which if you are running a build that can, well, avoid damage but also ends up taking damage, you have a lot more opportunities to get yourself cursed and refresh your health off of cursed. I forgot what your boss build was, but indeed, after our next exploration, I'll go ahead and give it a try. Ooh. Rampart. Best shield in the game, and so we can go ahead and combine that with an armadillo pack, which we will soon be running out of different perks for us to use, so I think that will be a good one regardless. I wonder why the lock icon there is broken. So you continue onward. Yeah, everyone over here. Over here. And no damage suffered. There. As long as we keep alternating, even if we don't hit something, we'll be able to raise our attack speed, and getting to do that on a survival build is incredibly important. You'll see how quickly our crossbow charges after a couple of swings. Barbed tips as well as the one that rips out arrows. Do you have a weapon to rip out the arrows, though? I don't think the repeater crossbow actually does that, does it? I think Ripper requires that you use a melee attack. Drop a crusher here, get an explosive crossbow. The important part is that we're able to attack multiple enemies at once with our build. And there we go! No damage taken in that entire interaction. Just how I like it. Okay, we almost got hit there. And that would have sucked. Not that we'd necessarily be penalized at this point. I didn't know either. As I said, on the schedule I posted in the Discord server, this would be a guerrilla stream. So it's just entirely improvised. And I did only make the announcement about an hour before I started streaming. So, no worries about missing the announcement. It was very short notice. The rooting thing with the repeater works. We'll give it a try. If it does, then yeah, that sounds absolutely destructive. Even just a slight attack boost, huh? I wonder if it just raises the cap, or does it actually scale the speed that you increase your attack speeds? As well. You might be able to get just a very fast 1-2 just by using 2 attacks, rather than continuing to repeat. VTuber sneeze. There. So this is our second try of the evening, Siphon. Nothing interesting in the shop here. But still don't know if we can actually get back to the Morass of the Banished from the prison depths. Oh boy. Let's go ahead and dodge roll through here, and through here again. I will try out the bank probably after it comes out of alpha. I'm a little skeptical about trying out alpha builds. But then again, if I'm in there early, that might be another chance to get a little bit more clout on the channel. Yeah, in the alpha build of Dead Cells right now. You know what? Let's actually save that for the next Dead Cells stream, since it has been brought up. Yeah, in the alpha branch, there's a new biome which is guaranteed to show up once at any random point during your run. Biome called the Bank, which has a lot of gold-themed enemies. There's also a couple new mutations, and if I recall correctly, a couple new weapons that use gold as part of your build. So any of the excess money you find gets to be used as a weapon, or in the case of one overpowered and needing to be reworked ability, you can use it defensively. I think it's still needing to be reworked, but they did have one that was damage you take is subtracted from your gold before it's subtracted from your health. Came here for the Dead Cells, but stayed for the actual good content. And if we can go, ooh, ice armor. I think that's actually a better idea than the cocoon. Especially if we have a way to reduce its cooldown consistently. Right, we did want to put in points for ice crossbow. But let's go ahead and wait to unlock that until we get much further in our run. We actually have a lot of decently unlocked weapons so far, so let's go ahead and just randomly invest some cells here and there, just to get ourselves prepared for our next runs, which will be randomly swapping out stuff. Upgrade this to S, as we're probably not going to swap it out for a while. I think after the first boss, we might want to go ahead and switch to, the frozen crossbow. Do we need the health restoration? You know what, might as well. Let's go ahead and save ourselves a flask or two. We can keep ourselves at a very comfortable distance using this build so far. And the ice armor actually prevents us from taking damage even if we're cursed. Sorry, Serenade. Not today. No enemies on the very first floor that we begin at, which is a good sign. Ooh. We'll need to remember that room. Go ahead and open it, but we will not travel through it. Definitely not while cursed. One, two, ice armor because we're getting to invisible enemies here. Come on. Get yourself a bit of the slow. Yeah, I think a better rework would be if it made a portion of your damage subtract from your gold instead of your health. Let's see, enemies down here. There's an elite enemy which I would like to avoid. And done. We'll power through, we'll power through. And out of ammo. Because this is not a weapon that actually sticks arrows into enemies. There. Golden amulet, not now. Yeah, we can get a lot of extra DPS by alternating just like that. And with the high breach value our weapons has, faster consecutive attacks increases the chance that we can stun an enemy, and possibly even stun lock them. Like so. We managed to breach him before his attack came out, and accordingly made him flinch. We'll leave that pie to come back to here in a moment. Ah, that does count as a kill. I am not on the mix box, and I don't do that with dead cells anymore. You basically need to have access to all 8 buttons that you regularly use, as well as the right thumbstick for the homunculus rune. I could not find a comfortable button setup on a Mixbox that let me do that. So although I do have some slightly dysfunctional pads with weird control sticks, I don't think it's actually going to harm my gameplay here. One of my gamepads will actually occasionally create an upwards input when you move your control stick down. This is not a fighting game, so holding up on the control stick as I do now does not actually make me jump. Thank you, little buggers. I think we can go ahead and keep ourselves going to 60 kills, which I think is what we need from this biome. Or just go ahead and take damage because we missed our attack. Alright. Back to the challenge rift we go. Do we have a quick way back there? Is this the only teleporter we have? Looks like that's the case. Yeah, you can probably access a lot of buttons much easier on a keyboard. The Mixbox, however, has only 8 face buttons, and you kind of need 9 to play Dead Cells as best as possible, given how important the Homunculus rune is in a number of situations. Like, say, this. Now we head back. It is below us. Okay. Head in here, open our chest. No to that amulet. Yes to the scroll, which we will choose survival, of course. Wait for it. And if we get to a dangerous room like this one, we'll go ahead and put on the ice armor, which should protect us from a little bit of damage, worst case scenario. And in fact, since our timer is paused, we don't actually have a penalty for me sitting here and waiting before the next jump. So we'll wait for this a little bit. 5, 4, you know what, take a drink. This is essentially a loading screen. Ah, we have a third jump. We have 4 jumps, actually. It was very good that I took a moment to check that. This will make a lot of the challenges here easier, which, well, no damage. Thinking about buying it on PC and restarting it since you got your PC fixed. I would recommend a gamepad. The game was designed with a gamepad in mind, so that is where it will play best and easiest. And it's how I've gotten to 5BC and beaten it accordingly. I actually haven't fought the Queen on 5BC. Which, that reminds me. I'm thinking about next Saturday we can do a programming stream, if you were able to attend, Siphon. Although if there is a day that works best for you, do tell me. Come down here, get yourself some slow. The good news about your enemies teleporting is it makes a lot of those set play type weapons much more powerful. You can teleport enemies into your traps a lot easier. None of these are good, so we'll just pick any arbitrary one and sell them. They will all be worth the same amount of gold. Indeed, Decursion. Ah, we can get to the morass from here. Good. Yeah, let's wait a little bit longer before we decide if we want an ice crossbow. We can go ahead and choose that maybe after the first boss. Seismic Strike is another one of my favorites. We'll go ahead and split a few cells here, and a few cells onto the torch. Just in case we don't make it past here. Ooh, victims freeze nearby enemies when they die. That is a very good effect. Let's go with Armadillo Pack since we will be having to roll regardless. And doing that should enable a shield, right? Or does it only actually spread the damage off of it? We'll find an easy spot to trigger that here. Which I will not be risking on the tick since we really just need to kill this guy as quickly as possible. Okay, so it does give us the shield. Which means that it does retain certain special effects from whatever shield you parry with. I don't know if it works for all of them. survival as always, and a good old 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Alright, we can pick it up from here. How ominous. This is also a lore room. We don't actually have anything to do right here. Excellent parry. That gives us a little bit of invincibility, which basically, in conjunction with our increased attack speed, just gives us a good time to just let out a lot of DPS. Welcome, time of game. Please do enjoy yourself, and welcome to the classroom. Ooh, really? We're getting level 9 weapons already. This is supposed to be a difficult biome. Well, I'm definitely not taking that while it has that effect. We'll go ahead and... I wonder if we'll actually get a very high level, if we get an ice crossbow at the end of the transition in this level, I wonder if that'll actually give us a level 9 item, or if the biomes in between, the little hub worlds where you get to talk to the collector, I wonder if those just don't actually have item levels that you'd expect. Going to have to ask later. Your friends normally come around that time. Best days for you are weekdays at 9 or 8 p.m. I have bought the Queen decursion, and in fact we actually perfected her on our 2BC stream, I believe. And that, my friends, is why we use the Crusher. Slow and stun lock. It's an okay boss fight, but kind of an unremarkable one. And 1, 2. Get over here. We actually... Really? I thought we had bonus damage to a frozen target with our cross hit. We're just dealing that much damage. I was wrong. Pick up survival. 1, 2. Stun. 1, 2. 1, 2. And appear behind the Rampager here. Come on, down here where you're slow. Welcome back, Pokken. This is better as it upgrades our survival and thus our damage. I have made it a personal goal of mine, if I can score it, for my future game dev endeavors. You know what? Let's do it. For my future game dev endeavors, I'm planning on trying to do the same. Rotoscoped 3D models. Creates a very interesting sort of retro aesthetic. We should have enough enemies in the level, and in conjunction with our ice armor, we should be okay. There's 60 KOs, no damage taken, and halfway through dispelling our curse. We'll go ahead and take a peek in here. There do not seem to be any enemies. This is actually where we would purchase another flask if we had used one so far. But we will instead save up our gold and try to get that for later in the game. Ice armor is refreshed, so we make a very careful approach. One, two, and dispelled. Extra jumps, or dodging plants a bomb. If we do remember the extra jumps, it will make a lot of the challenge rifts a lot easier. Or laptop has the specs of a 90s toaster. Well, Your name sounds familiar to me, Pokken. I don't know if you're actually here beforehand or not. But earlier this Monday, we did actually have a game dev stream in which I instructed a couple of the basics of getting a platformer together, and we might have another lesson soon. It would be best if I can do the next game dev stream right before a day off, especially since that is one which I have to spend the entire time talking. So, tell me, Siphon, when you say weekdays, does that count for, wait, no, I can't do it on Fridays, because those are Guilty Gear days. Never mind. Perhaps sometime during the week, then. I'll take a break in the middle, and then we can go ahead and do something on Saturday instead. Making thumbnails is one of my favorite parts of, the YouTube thing here. And it's one reason why I prefer YouTube to Twitch so far. But my Twitch has been exploding lately. Well, there goes a little bit of our health, but we already scored our 60 kill streak. Oh, explosive damage, how blessed it is. I might do another Casey's Mod stream soon. Not sure when. Alright, I think this is the last challenge before we proceed. Another tick, so pop both of these, and alternate. And not hit once. We'll pick whatever is lower, which in this case is Brutality. Not sure what my proudest thumbnail is so far. Definitely the one I've put the most effort into would have been the ones for Melty Blood type Lumina, as I spent 3 hours trying... You know, I've said a lot of things about using a bone prior, but we already have such a more effective build going. Our S weapons actually do higher damage than the bone here does. Guess the legendary weapons are falling behind. But type Lumina is definitely the most effort I put in, as I spent about 3 hours just actually trying to doodle that little Neko arc, but it's Xander. And what a good laugh that was. Wait, do we have bonus damage on the rampart? Is that what's going on here? Okay, attacking just after a parry inflicts 300% damage. That's why we were doing so much with the parries. But for the next game dev stream, I have a very good way to shovel in some lessons about arrays and strings, which we did have a joke from one of our other viewers about fighting game inputs, but funny enough... Oh, wait, wrong key. There we go. Funny enough, I actually did already make a fighting game command interpreter for Game Maker Studio. For a personal project I started a long time ago and since have not yet picked up. Not yet picked back up. But if you would like to make something like that a regular thing, I could do a weekly dev stream, which we just go ahead and relax. I might dial back the character a little bit, and we'll figure out what we can do. See if we get a high power, where is it? Ice crossbow. Level 8. Definitely improvement from what we have. Sorry, explosive crossbow. I guess your time's up. Yeah, that's a decent increase. Upgrade both of those to S. Since we have a wonderfully synergistic effect here with the Rampart having freeze and bonus damage after a parry, we'll keep it as is. It's a utility item and upgrading it only increases its damage, which we're unconcerned with. Good morning, Harus, and welcome. We're just getting to our first boss fight of the evening here. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to have to try some weird roll setups, I guess. And what wonderful damage we're doing. Keep an eye on the ground, roll when we're getting close, and end up rolling right into taking damage regardless. So, no perfect for us. And phase 2. Or, more essentially, phase 2.5. This is one of the reasons I don't appreciate this fight, as it's a little hard to get the read properly on that part. We're gonna have a bit of trouble with the fact that we get slowed down from the ice effects. But no matter, we've done it just fine. Oh yeah, we also had bonus damage versus a rooted target. I should have thought about that. If we used the ice damage in conjunction with the water here, this boss actually has an interesting effect of always being immersed in water, so if you have an electric or freezing weapon, you get to abuse some synergies with that. We actually should have kept it on the bonus damage to versus rooted targets, as freezing an enemy who is standing in water counts as a root effect. Don't need this, don't need this. I'm gonna go on with here. Now, since we did manage to defeat the first wave of bosses, we're gonna go ahead and... Do we risk going through with another cursed chest ahead? I decline, as I think we actually have a health shop in the next level. So instead we will go with Armadillo Pack again. We actually don't need Kill Rhythm nearly as much on this build. What might be better is Frostbite, but I know we'll definitely want Extended Healing. Yeah, I think Frostbite actually can help our damage a little bit better. I don't know. Let's actually go ahead with Kill Rhythm. And let's see, where are we going? We can go to the Stilt Village, or the Fractured Shrines, or the Graveyard, which I will opt for the Graveyard here, as we want to route our way to the Giant on 4BC. As, well, it's not necessarily a spoiler. Those of you who have been here on the stream know that the Giant is one of the boss fights available. But funny enough, you get the 5th boss cell from beating the Giant on 4BC, not the final boss. So don't immediately run your way to the final boss. You'll have to route your way through to the Giant on 4BC. Reason for that is, originally the game only went up to 4BC difficulty. And the Rise of the Giant DLC added in the extra layer with 5BC. Accordingly, they wanted you to have to fight the new boss in order to get to the new content. So they made it to where on the 4BC, which was the maximum difficulty at the time, you'd have to route to the Giant, face the new boss, and then from there, you could start the new difficulty of 5BC, which is actually identical to 4BC, aside from the fact that you get an extra level after the final boss. Victims freeze nearby enemies when they die. Wow. What an incredibly synergistic effect we have here. So check this out. The freezing shot of the ice crossbow has a lot of thaw effects, whatever, but victims freeze nearby enemies when they die. Sure, it doesn't pierce, but it creates more frozen effects, and our piercing shot crossbow, on top of scoring critical hits versus a frozen enemy, it also has an extra bonus damage modifier to frozen targets. So we have an incredible DPS combination here. Meat skewer, interesting. I don't usually hear good things about that weapon. Nice to hear there's something for everyone. Yeah, we can basically one-shot any enemy with this. Not a boss. But with the combination of damage we can muster, right, we need to pay more attention to our ice armor. That's gonna save us in a lot of weird situations like this. And I remember why I stopped using this gamepad. Sometimes it double taps the right trigger. So let's actually... wait. There. After all, we don't get anything wrong if we accidentally double tap the crusher item. You can see how we almost one-shot an elite enemy with this. We'll take what gets us closest to the same number of stats on our off stats, as that will overall get us the most amount of health. At least until later in the game, you actually get slightly more from getting brutality. Pick this up. Ah, there was another item in there. You know, we will be buying another flask charge on this level, so let's go ahead and route that back. And we can get a little bit of extra money from the item above the exit there. There's always something else to sell. So tell me, Decursion, what about the meat skewer makes you love it so much? Not saying that it's a bad idea, but if it turns out to be an exceptional weapon, I'll go ahead and use it. We also won't need to change, upgrade, or otherwise modify the weapon that we're using. The ice crossbow here is basically set up to be perfect. Head over here, and there will be another item. Nah, we want the slow down synergy with the crusher item here. Ah, wait, we never did unlock this blueprint. I forget what we needed to get in here. Looks like we needed homunculus from this side, right? Ah, we might not. Looks like there's just a secret route up here, regardless. We needed the ram room, okay. Which I think we're guaranteed to have if we're getting to this biome, aren't we? This parting gift. Of course. We'll go ahead and leave that treasure room unopened. We actually no longer have alienation. So this is probably the last level that we actually can go ahead and pick out, especially while we still have the ice armor. We can go ahead and pick out the cursed chest. More survival, as always. Upgrade the power of all of our skills. It's those rats which are the biggest problem. But if we can land on them with a somp, then no harm done. I'm gonna go ahead and reflect these shots. While we're here, upgrade brutality first. Roll in and continue. There. I have a feeling the cursed chest is coming up, right? A treasure find. Nah, we still want the utility of the Rampart Shield. And if we score a parry, we can actually, do a piercing shot afterwards. Let's see, we have a red spot on the map right here, which VTuber sneeze. I sneeze very loudly, which is why I mute the mic every time that happens. Wonderful selection of weapons, which actually could potentially muster better DPS. Or it's just the fact that the Rhythm Mizuki is the best weapon in the game. Still looking for that cursed chest wherever it might be. Although it wouldn't be too much harm if we ended this biome with it, as we don't have a boss immediately coming up next. We have another level. Go ahead and take that. And 4-cell door. What we got in here? It's usually more treasure. Indeed, ice armor, which is actually weaker than the one that we have. Therefore, we will sell it. Wait. If we used Heart of Ice, we'd be able to cycle our cooldowns much quicker. But I don't think that would actually work on bosses, as we wouldn't be able to freeze most bosses. here we go. As I told you, we'll be buying another flask charge and maybe a little bit of food on the way out. Forgotten Sepulchre is a no. Where is that chest? My money's on off to the right over here. Lo and behold. Fire Grenade is a no, as that is incredibly anti-synergistic with our freeze. We'll have to play very carefully for the next 10 kills, but that is nothing we can't handle. Yeah, looks like a pretty simple challenge over there, but instead, I'm gonna go ahead over to the chest room here, as I don't think we stepped in. Yeah, there's spikes below here, so be careful. Ice armor on. And done. I would have gone immediately for those explosive bats, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to guarantee a hit on them. And there's our 60th kill, no damage. See what's behind door number 1, and it is, ooh, not a bad idea. But we already have too much defensive utility, so we'll keep with this instead. In fact, aside from finding a better crusher, our build is all but finalized. And just a few more enemies off to the side here, and we'll have cleared the biome. Right, that's how 5BC is different from 4BC. 5BC introduces the malaise mechanic, which is intended specifically to hurry you along and have you quickly KO everything in the level. And you'll see the intricacies of that when we get there. No more smoke and mirrors. Come on, get down through there. There we go. Knock knock. It's Knuckles. Let those get over here and then exit. No in the corrupted power because we are far too deep in yet another survival build. And we'll go ahead and sell the ice down here just in case. Break. And pick this up, sell it, and continue. We need to get to that spot over there, which is the route onto the cavern. We have to route to the cavern because I can't remember if there's actually a different level that lets you fight the giant. The giant being who we need to get the next boss cell. And even should we not defeat the final boss afterwards, I'm still gonna wait until we do beat the boss on 4BC before we proceed to 5. Flawless Concierge, Flawless Conjunctivius. And there it is, Flawless Queen outfit. Because we managed to perfect her on that one stream. Let's go ahead and pop a few cells here and there. I don't want to immediately unlock anything yet. Yeah, all is shipshape. We're not even going to worry about re-rolling the stats on the Crusher, as what I'd like to do is try to see if we can get a better Crusher in the following level. The items in here go up to 12 levels, I believe. Nice indeed, Pakin. Here we are on one of the more difficult levels in the game, but we are rewarded with much higher quality weapons. Loading screen, take a drink. Mining was the most thankless job on the island. Many died buried under rubble, suffocated by toxic vapor, or killed by strange creatures. Which I can agree with, because for some reason, this level has demon enemies. Speaking of demons, we apparently have a very, very long loading screen. Uh-huh. I'm gonna go grab some more tea. Ah, never mind. Didn't really need it, but I'll still be back here in a moment. And... wait. If I just go off screen, does it lose my tracking completely? No, I was still peeking down from the corner a little bit. Skibbity whoop, and we continue. Once again, treacherous and very thin elevators, but nothing we can't handle. There we go, dodge rolled those back in. And I think the only enemies we'll actually have an issue with in this level will be the big bear fellows. Oh, we can freeze them. We apparently can't freeze giants, though. Interesting. Wonder what the cause for that is. The most important news is that we can freeze the demons, which are otherwise the most disruptive enemies we have, since they can fly through walls and will attack you with ranged attacks. But so long as we spot them first, there shouldn't be an issue. Like so. The Arbiter is also not much of a problem. We can play a little bit patiently and attack them from range, so long as we do have a long, flat, horizontal area to attack them from. Yeah, you can't freeze those guys. But everyone else, yeah. They just go down in a simple one too. I wonder if the Crusher would actually work better on them. Go in there from behind. And there, again, more free synergy. Simple enough, and we've already gotten 23 kills with no damage taken, I believe. You have to be patient with those guys as they attack you from a slight upward angle. You can't actually just trade one for one with them from their attacking range. Those guys don't stay frozen for very long, do they? So we have to be very quick with our 1-2 there. Okay, so that's probably our best weapon against those guys. Against the skeletons, we can go ahead and drop the Crusher. Right. Wait for him. We need to basically get our first shot perfect, as if we accidentally hit them with the freezing bolt twice, it will raise their resistance to freeze. To prevent you from stun locking every enemy in the game, every enemy does build up a slight freeze resistance over time. Of course. Find him in a long flat hallway, and there's not much we can do about it. And freeze, pierce. Freeze, pierce. I think we can actually jump over those fire attacks. They might not have much of a hitbox. We also could have tried to see if we could cling onto any of those walls, and we might have been able to avoid his attacks. Cleaver is a no. We are still focusing on survival. This is going to be a long, slow slog through here. One of, if not the longest levels in the game. Crusher goes out. We'll want to see if we can get just barely close enough to activate it. And there. Wait for him to turn around, and then we attack. 1, 2. Skip the ladder because we need to be up here as quickly as possible, and get rid of that demon. Is there something off here? I was thinking there might have been a treasure. Up the elevator we go, and... knock knock. We actually might need to use the freezing bolt against the guardians twice. Come on. This is why they're a bit of a problem. They sort of lock themselves around that area. So, because the Oven Knights will block the first hit with their shield, we'll have to use the Freeze Bolt twice, and then the Piercing Bolt. Or just alternate, we can go Pierce, Freeze, Pierce. Quick Bow is fun, but not on this build. How do we approach? Up that wall, of course. Pick up this scroll, and you already know the answer. Wait. Huh. That little tombstone there means that it tried to place a 4-boss cell door there, but couldn't find a good spot to put it. This game, however amazing as it is still not glitch-free after all this time. But knowing how difficult it is to generate long roguelike dungeons like this, that's to be expected. Okay, it was the lore room. Must have been all cozy and warm here if they were hiding weapons. Like the best weapon in the game, which, again, we're focusing on the freeze crossbow, so no. And I'm not immediately going to go back into a, hey, let's beat the next phase with Rhythm and Bazooki and Rampart Shield. Drop this down, slow him down, and continue. Wait for him to turn around, and there. Still can't decide between this game and Noida. Well, my personal vote is for Dead Cells here. Ooh, the boy's axe. Okay, that is a very fun weapon to use. Expect to see it pretty soon. Come down here, Fade. This has a better sum of total stats, even though it subtracts 1 from our survival. Welcome back, boy. I just picked up your axe. And my axe. Ah, right. So we have skills here, which means we should look for a crusher. Ice armor 9. Let's think about this. And how much money we're going to spend. The ice armor is more necessary for utility, and it doesn't really have too many different effects it can pull. We'll skip over that and try to see if we can spend all of our money on, instead, a crusher, which we do use entirely for DPS. And you see this one has bonus damage to a frozen target. I'll let you do the math. Even if that is sort of my job. How do we get up there? I do like Noida, but it does murder my computer and has some idiosyncrasies. But that is another reason why the game is so entertaining. Expect to see Noida again once I have a computer better capable of handling it. As we've definitely gotten it to slow down to about 40 FPS on our later streams. And there, perfectly timed dodge rolls with the Armadillo pack. And we don't have to worry about suffering damage. Random skills. Well, not that we'd have much of a difference here, we just pulled for a crusher. Alright, we should be almost done with the level. I'm gonna need this. Just as insurance. Oh, and the Toxic Cloud. Okay, that's a bit of supplementary DPS for us. I didn't use the piercing shot there because that enemy does not take any damage from the back. Nothing below, nothing to the right. I do believe we've cleared out everything below us. We'll have a second answer once we get Explorer's Instinct. Enemies' remains explode. Ah, a raid! Welcome. We were just doing a 4BC run on Dead Cells here. And who do I have the pleasure of thanking this evening? A science raid! Welcome, Cave! Welcome! Dearest associate, I was actually looking your Fallout New Vegas stream earlier. And to the YouTube audience here, I must go ahead and plug my boy. We are currently being raided from a fellow associate of mine. Ah! Looks like you were just turning down the stream. If you enjoy the vibes I give off, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a Twitch link down here to Dr. Cave. Very similar veins, and an absolute good friend of mine. Being a fellow relaxed scientist who might have some actual more relevant scientific things to teach you. And equivalently pleasant to listen to. Welcome back, Avid Author. Yeah, we're gonna need the ice armor for that, while we're backed up into the corner. Huh, funny. That link managed to post to YouTube, but not to Twitch, so I guess everything as it should be. No science is irrelevant until proven. Well, indeed. I usually just give little, video game mechanical trivia. Which is otherwise relatively inapplicable outside of said video games. But nonetheless, is great science. Science is science! True indeed. What do we need out there? It's just a little bit of gold, but I don't know if we have anything we need from that treasure stash right there. That's the end of the level just ahead of us, but we do need one more scroll. So we'll go ahead and take that from over here. What hit us? Did he have one of those horizontal damage auras? I didn't see that amidst all the remainder of the red glows. A red glare, if you will. Huh? Science is science. A equals A, B equals B. Science, Meredith, science. Yeah, we were gonna need to pump everything into that guy to get rid of him. And this one gives us 2 survival points, so we'll take that for the extra damage. Which you can see the difference it has made. Freeze and pierce. And we actually don't have a need to go over there. Reason we're wanting to avoid it is this little lamp guy here who actually has a gravitational effect. If we get close, he will attract us towards him and damage us. The sea is indeed full of salt. That is the entire biome cleared out, I believe. Ah! See, this is why Explorer's Instinct is important. We missed a scroll back down there. And the closest portal appears to be... no, it's not up there. It's down here. So... get ourselves over here. And another reason why the homunculus rune is important. Oh. Try that again. Retrieve that for me. And sell it. We could use just a little bit of extra gold. It might come down to giving us 1 extra reroll we need. Point into tactics and head back down to the teleporter. And on to the boss we go. Now, the interesting case here is we do have a freeze build, but we can't freeze the boss. At least I don't think we can. The difference between screwing around and science is writing it down. In this case, streaming the options. Oh god, MATLAB is cursed. Please, please do not. No, that is a... There are two forbidden words in my chat. The first one is MATLAB, the second one is Zoner. And there's indeed our boys acts. This way, boy. Boy. Classic. That game just came to PC, didn't it? Oh, yeah, you don't need to remind me anything about the indices. I know all about how horrible it is. And, looky here. Covers the ground with burning oil when destroyed and deals bonus damage to a target with that effect. So we might have a good synergy of being able to get those to pair together, assuming we can fire another one quickly after the previous one expires. I don't even like Python, and it's way better than MATLAB. Alright, here we go. And much danger ahead. I'll let the cutscene play out for our first-time viewers here. With horrid voice acting, a boot. You? Here? The malaise really had its way with you. Yes, indeed. In keeping with your arrogance, which has brought nothing but ruin to the kingdom. I wonder what his voice would be. In spite of all my warnings, not a shred of hope is left to us. Shit! If he were a weeb. And we can't actually parry those sequences here. Actually, I think the lasers here count as a wall, not as, damage. Yeah, we're not gonna get much damage on this guy. Without the Crusher. Okay, so it is a damage field. Pop a flask. We can get plenty of damage to his hands, but we're gonna need to get more on the eyeball. So this might be a boss fight we just go through a lot of phases with. Yeah, we're barely doing any damage to him. So we'll be in a lot of trouble come phase 2. That's what happens if you let him charge up his crystals on the side. Oh, never mind. At least we have plenty of parry damage. that damage is kind of pathetic. Simply because we can't freeze him. And we missed. The boss fights normally do not take this long. I just literally have no damage against someone I can't inflict a freeze effect on. That's what I get for being creative. Ah, and we still can't get it up there. And we are almost getting to phase 2, after all this time. Flask. Really? What made you take so long this time? Pop another flask. And I do barely see a question. I am a huge Toho fan, but I can't read the remainder of your question. Parry? At least we can sort of keep up the damage versus his fists. It's mostly about passive DPS here. That's how we're getting the bulk of it. Almost there. That's level 3. Or not. Huh. We'll just, okay. Yeah, we just needed the initial fire there. Ya boy knows how to play an endurance boss. You've beaten me fairly. Not like before. Take this. It might be of more use to you. Make a wish. I jest. You most certainly are, eh? Ah, he got cut off by self-destruction this time. So, we're able to go on to 5th BC immediately. I will neglect to do that for now. Instead, we're going to focus on trying to beat 4. I actually like the tonic a bit more in this situation. Multiple knocks. Bow. No. We can go immediately on to the final boss, but I think getting us a couple more upgrades and possibly swapping out our weapons would be better. Well, Pakin, I'm glad you have answered that question, which I did mention prior. I am a huge Toho fan, and I was just actually waiting to find an audience who'd be there for said streams. I actually just played Genso Wanderer about 4 months ago, and it was one of my favorite games I've ever played, and being on brand for being a roguelike, that is another game I want to play on here eventually. But Luna Nights will probably be a very good way to warm up to it, given that we've done a lot of Metroidvania, case in point, games up to this. I really don't think I'd stand a chance against the Queen. Let's relax it a little bit and try to see if we can just get on to High Peak Castle and Hand of the King this time. I think since we can't actually... I don't think we can freeze the final boss, can we? It all really comes down to if we can freeze him or not. Oh ho! Pass. I'm not stupid. Well, glad to have a fellow Toho enjoyer in the chat. I've been waiting on it for a while. And even from Inscription. I look up to Zun, or Zun, however his name is pronounced. Solo dev and the man I'd aspire to be. Man just went ahead and developed his own games with no artistic talent and created an entire subculture. Which I hope to do eventually, given that the streaming thing has picked up. Well, I might start working towards my own game dev aspirations on this channel. Would be nice to have a couple of extra eyes and ears on my work. Even if, for the most part, it might be mostly a solo project. Or who knows? I have mentioned on a number of prior streams that one of the reasons I started the whole streaming thing was for the explicit purpose of networking. There's a lot of fellow VTubers and even viewers which have game dev aspirations, and with more connections, I have better opportunities to get more work done. I'm sorry and you are welcome to chastise this, but I do not immediately recognize the name Beat Mario. Although I'm certain I would recognize his work. No, on the assault shield, Rampart is still far more important. One, two. Ah, darn. If we actually picked, the ability that lets us get more damage or get health restoration when we're cursed. We could have done that, but we still found a baguette, so I think we're doing just fine. Is there no other enemies down there, so no reason to go past the spinning mace. And mini-boss has been one-shot. Well, technically two-shot, but it's mostly a setup for damage. Freeze and pierce. Ah, okay, so I have heard Beat Mario's work then. I'm excited. Oh, Leviathan's here too. Well, I know you as a fellow Toho enjoyer, but someone I met from the streams rather than someone I knew otherwise. Well, wonderful news to have. We have 2 fellow Toho enjoyers in the chat. Alright, you know what? I was actually just discussing with a friend the order of games I'd be playing soon, but you know what? I think I might bump, Luna Knights up on the queue a bit. Amulet goes away, and Amethyst. The current schedule for our Metroidvania series will be, or at least quirky indie game series, is I'm gonna go ahead and finish up Everhood soon, which should only take 1 or 2 more streams. I do believe that is a short game, at least something with that much production value, but with that low of a budget, should not have very much of a game. Writing is hard, and having such a script-heavy game is going to leave you with a very short runtime. After that, depending on if it is available, one of our most consistent viewers has requested Frambo as a psychological horror game, which I may implement for March. If they are not able to attend soon, then I'll instead wait on that a bit and probably do Hollow Knight afterwards, since everyone has been asking for that game. Ooh. A little bit of gold. Drop this here, and goodbye. Yeah, so because he was taking fire damage, we couldn't actually freeze him and then get the critical hit piercing shot afterwards. I will leave a disclaimer for those who have not heard it from me yet. I don't care for, like, jump scare horror games. Psychological horror, absolutely. But I'm not gonna, you're never going to see a Five Nights at Freddy's stream or any of those other cheap jump scare games. Not my vibe. But if it's the kind of horror that keeps you up pondering your existential crisis at night, I'm all about that. Which means you actually might see a Doki Doki Literature Club eventually, but I believe that game's just been spoiled for everyone. Yeah, it would be funny as hell, but I'd prefer you see me suffer in a more interesting game, let's be honest. FNAF is boring. Oh yeah, Soma and what was the other game? There was the game before Soma. I forgot what it was called. The one from like 10 years ago. I'd definitely be down for that too. Goodness, would you look at the damage? I actually don't know if we can freeze the final boss. The slowdown really disrupted my ability to get him. So it seems most of the enemies based off of bosses can't be afflicted with status conditions, or maybe that was just the DPS on that guy, preventing him from being frozen, so we still ended up suffering a hit. Jump scare games are a poor excuse for horror. Cat has jump scared you before and he's a cuddly ball of love. I don't think mine has, as he makes sure to make his presence very known. Pop that tonic. What are we left with? Looks like that is the biome explored, so we will head back down there to that red door and exit the level. Yeah, there were a couple of traps in our way. Other than that, we are mostly geared up for a final challenge. Were there any more doors we might not have gone through? Looks like we have one. Check in here, and oh, it's just the lore door. We've been in here a bunch of times. Have you ever done the giant yet? Ha ha ha! Got you, Siphon. You have not been watching your lesson. We just did the giant. Gotcha. It's okay. I know everyone has important things to do, and I am perfectly fine being background noise. As I've said, and I will reiterate this anytime we might have someone new in the class, you have no obligation to attend. That is a better tonic. Do we want the cudgel? As true or false as that excuse is, I admire your tenacity, Siphon, so well done. We are actually going to switch weapons here for our final boss, since I don't think we can freeze him. And instead, go ahead and stack up our cells in other areas. We will still keep the Crusher, so we're not going to unlock anything new for the last fight here. And yes, Decursion, I will test out your build in the training room afterwards. Unless we... wait. I don't think I have the repeater crossbow yet. Unless we unlocked it earlier. Hold on. Where's that blueprint? Dead cells... repeater crossbow. Findable from dark trackers, so I should have it. Alright, we'll test it out. Soldier's resistance. Ooh, 40%. Never mind, we should have invested in that one. Alright, we're coming up to final boss here. The reload we don't have to upgrade. Actually, it'll give us a little bit more damage resistance. And it launches a grenade, fine enough. Extra damage to a slowed down target, perfect. Shots leave a trail of flames, everything here looks perfect, except for our selection of skills. which we will do disengagement, our extended healing off of the very last flask we have, and the bonus DPS from Frostbite, or do we want the... No. Attacking a frozen, stunned, or rooted enemy at close range reduces skill cooldowns. So that, we want to refresh our tonic and crusher as often as possible. The heavy crossbow, if you look, it's very subtle, and it's hard to see with the grenade, but you see a very small blue bolt extend out of it at the beginning. And that actually roots your opponent, so it gives you a setup for your shot. You were at the king with 3 BC with highest crossbow and didn't know you couldn't freeze him, so you lost. We actually just did an entire endurance boss against the giant since... Well, you can see I only have 1 flask left, and normally I try to save them up for the final boss. But I had to run through 3 of them on the giant, because we couldn't get enough damage on him. Reload. And let's crank all the DPS out here, shall we? First things first. He's going to start with his very slow attack, so we walk behind him and set up. You know, I don't think we actually need to focus on reloads for now. Go ahead and pop tonic. Reload as we prep for this phase, and this should be a very clean fight. We're gonna wait a little bit, let our tonic recharge, and in fact I'm actually gonna pop a flask right here. Crusher goes down, and here's the big one. Oh, we ran out of ammo. But we didn't need it. So, there you go. Our second run on 4 BC. And we managed to beat it. 3 BC is the most egregious difficulty spike, but here, well, you've seen how well we can do. This is our next goal for our next stream, once we are on to 5 BC. But alas, we can't go there just yet. 4, actually, and I do believe that should be in the stream title, right? Yeah, okay, stream title has 4 BC, and as you can see just above my hair over here, we just completed a run of 4. So, next stream, yeah, we've been here 2.5 hours. Next stream, we will start with a 5 BC run. Yeah, we'll be doing 5 soon. Finish the game with 4 active. This is usually a long credit sequence, and we do have one more little thing we need to attend to. So I'll go ahead and skip that. But I might let the entire thing rock once we finish our 5 BC run. Rock and roll. I absolutely admire Motion Twin. They are a wonderful studio. And I am so proud that they've managed to make such a successful game. I wonder if I can do work for them one of these days. So, what was the build in question? You said repeater crossbow, right? Let's see, barbed tips, ripper. And is there anything else which is more specific to the build? We should have a repeater crossbow around here somewhere. Unless we just never unlocked it. I don't think we have it. Hold on. Let's actually check the blueprint. You said it was repeater, right? Repeater crossbow and the arrow synergy abilities. And what's the icon we're looking for? I don't think we have it. Right, it's the one with the blue arrows pointing upwards and left. I don't think we have it. Weapons. It's not in any particular order. We don't have it. Well, in that case, it's actually found on one of our earliest enemies. So, instead, let's actually start a run here just to unlock that blueprint. Because I still would love to test that for you. Ice crossbow or heavy crossbow. Well, we did just have a demonstration of the heavy crossbow versus the boss. Let's see how it does versus enemies. Interesting build. I don't usually use multiple, I don't usually use simultaneous survival weapons. We're gonna need this. Replace the fire grenade. Come on, get me up and over. Now, the interesting thing about the root effect from the heavy crossbow there is it also pauses what your opponent is doing. That's why... oh. That's also a rarity, finding a cursed chest in the prison quarters. That's a 1% chance. Whoa, how remarkably we're doing. The game mocks us with these health power-ups, knowing that we can't take damage regardless. You did notice that, the final boss that we just fought actually had a number of instances in which his combos were interrupted when we were attacking him. And that was because of the bolt effect from the root on the repeater crossbow, or heavy crossbow. It's a very interesting, unique weapon. Reload, even though we're probably not going to need the extra damage. Stun sword. Which one was that? I don't remember something specifically called stun sword. Is it the, seismic strike, the one that roots people? Always remember, breaking down a door stuns the enemies on the other side. Seismic Strike, that's another one of my favorites. Huh, look at that. You know what? You know exactly how I feel about the Crusher. Better than the Magnetic Grenade. Let's see, we will need to get into Promenade of the Condemned. Actually, we have much better damage synergies here. I actually don't know how good the Hard Light Sword is. There's been a couple of streams in which I've tried it, but haven't found much success. Yeah, I hear lots of good things about the Pure Nail. Let's try that a bit more responsibly. Now, we should have the gold to be able to afford buying the grenade and not having a 50-point curse built up on us. A little too overconfident. Oh, right. We're not even on 5 boss cells yet. Let's do that now. So, class, welcome. We will have a little teaser here for the hardest difficulty in the game. But soon enough... Oh, I don't think I formally welcomed you, by the way, Longtren. Welcome. Well, you did just say Pure Nail, so let's give it a try. Say just Stiletto, Blood Shield, Leg Hugger, and Knife Dance. That's a brutality build, it sounds like, overall. It's definitely on the list. And we did just get to 5 VCs, so I'll be taking a lot of suggestions. In fact, if we actually get more of a showing on Twitch, I might try to use the streamer integration. Don't know why they don't make it work with YouTube. Maybe YouTube doesn't have an API available. Don't need that. Use you. Up here. You know what? Polio power. Let's just get rid of these guys. And Electric Whip. Given that we have very small corridors here, I'm not actually feeling the Pure Nail yet. Let's try to get this over with so that we can get that blueprint from the Dark Trackers in the next level. And Tactics. Which, actually... yeah, no, I think we'll actually warrant a restart rather than continuing on with our items. Really good for flying enemies. Yeah, definitely since it aims upward. I don't think the Pure Nail is slept on at all. I hear a lot of people saying it's one of the better weapons. Although that's coming from a filthy survival main who still prefers hard-hitting parries and heavier weapons rather than hitting over and over again. We will not be spending money on anything except the grenade over here. Oh, that's not the shop. Well, we're not cursed this time, so I think we can afford the little bit of extra slowness. We'll get all the extra damage out of that. And welcome, Dragoon. Oh! We've got a legendary weapon. We don't plan on taking this run to completion, so I will go ahead and pop that flask. We're mostly here just to unlock that repeater crossbow and test out that build. I wonder if Pollo Power is secretly viable. And isn't Seda Stiletto the one that... Okay, yeah, this will definitely be better than a heavy crossbow. This early on. Isn't the Seda Stiletto the one that works on poisoned and bleeding enemies? There's the different one that hits enemies from behind, which I think would be what you're looking for. Where is that darn shop? Okay, it's gonna be over in a different route over here instead. There we go. For a good laugh, let's keep the chicken. 10,000. I wonder if you can only essentially buy that after you've completed a run with that cost. Get the little bit of health, and let's rush on to Promenade. I'm not even going to look at the other areas of the level here. Right, Promenade. You know what, we really should do a lot more brutality builds here. In fact, I was trying all night, but we're not seeing many of them pop up. Hello there, I was waiting for you. Someone keeps leaving weird books all around the island. I want to try some of the, stuff written there. But I need cells, the sort you're carrying, for the experiments. Bring me some and I will help you in exchange, would you, darlin'? So, the collector's gone. Wonder what happened to him. We're not going to invest any cells as we're waiting to do that specifically for the repeater crossbow. And... we'll take the extra damage from a distance and unlock that blueprint. How do you get the grappling hook? It's surprisingly not on the enemies that use the weapon, I don't think. Let me look that one up. It's safer for me to check the wiki, as there are spoilers to be found there which I already know about. But it would be best if you weren't spoiled. Grappling hook is found on... Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. That's one of the few weapons actually found on the enemy that uses it. Yeah, you need to find the catchers, which are the fat guys with the meat hooks, who actually have that grapple weapon. You can find them in the graveyard and castle, I believe. Don't need anything from you. Alright, we are looking for the dark trackers, which are the ninja-looking fellows. Roll through here, get through here. Wait, are they even on the higher difficulties, or have they been replaced? Dark Tracker. Oh, they're not even in the Promenade past 3 BC. But they are in the ossuary. Okay. So, yeah, we're gonna have to play through this level and then head on to the ossuary. I think you know what time it is. This is definitely one of the better soundtracks in the game on this level. I love it. Let us head up around here. Ah, should have used a piercing shot. There we go. "30 KOs. Avoid the spikes. Nothing we need from there. Although it would be interesting running a tactics build with Armadillo Pack. I love all the red in the ossuary. And on a lot of previous runs I've done on the game, I try to route through there as, given how incredibly slow-paced that level is, I always found it super easy to deal with the curses that you can get from the guaranteed chest there. Oh, well, there's the zombie. In fact, I think we can actually find Dark Trackers out of the malaise, right? So, now that we are on 5BC, you might have noticed a few unfamiliar enemies showing up, such as our little shielded boy here. Well, the difference we have on 5BC is the game encourages much swifter and efficient play, because you will slowly build up a malaise as time goes on, indicated by the orange meter above my health. Come on, I know you saw me, get down here. Never mind, I think this actually works. What's the critical hit condition, though? Or does it just always get crits? So you're encouraged to go through the level quickly, as that orange meter builds up over time. And the further it builds up, the more difficult stuff you find. On 5BC. We actually just got to 5BC tonight on this stream. We finished our 4BC stream earlier. We're about almost 3 hours in. And we just finished our 4BC run, which lets us get over here. Almost got to 4BC, but at the Hand of the King fight you died. Yeah, they did implement the new training mode, which I actually used to catch a couple of his patterns and memorize them. It's really good knowing exactly which attacks he uses, as a lot of them have similar telegraphs, but they have a pattern to when they happen, and you need to be prepared for when he uses what, as you have to dodge all of them different ways. Me focusing so much on the sound cues, there's a lot of times I got hit when I really didn't want to. Roll, and open. One of the effects of the malaise mechanic is that enemies will start randomly appearing. So you will see some enemies in biomes that, like that, the fencer up there. You'll see a bunch of enemies we don't normally see. That is another mechanic right there, and that is a lot of enemies will become elites. Also, some of the food items might be infected, and so we'll also build that meter. Yeah, to this date, I still have not perfected the Timekeeper. I can manage to get incredibly high damage on her, but never have I perfected her. Get over here, and And goodbye. So, as Melee's builds, you will also take more damage, and enemy attacks will get faster. You reduce melees by clearing out most of the enemies at the level. Oh, wait. Am I speaking off to the side? Is my audio panning? Really? Hold on, does this mic actually have audio panning? I had my head off to the side, that might have been why. I actually have my microphone tilted horizontally, so if this thing does have some sort of audio panning, then it might be offset a little bit. I'll have to find a proper angle for this thing to work at. We are saying hi to you, but we are not doing anything yet. And let's go for... I don't know what works for a build right now. Let's go crow's foot. No, let's go acrobatic pack. And then see if we can find another ranged weapon here soon. So the stress you go through in fighting the boss, yeah. You have to stay calm and be ready. That's why I always pick disengagement and extended flask when I get to him. If I start falling too far behind, I'll use that to gather my bearings for a little bit. Really, why are you guys not taking damage? Oh right, we missed a couple of scrolls in the last level. So this level will be difficult. But we are only here for the trackers. Which we should find, I believe, in the second half of the level, correct? Never mind, Pollo Power is actually pretty nice in crowds like that. If it took you 5 times to beat Hand the King the first time, then you did better than me on my first time. But then again, I did play back in 1.0, where the game was far less properly balanced. 100% orange juice. You know, we really need to find some VTubers for a collab for that. Wait, that's the guy that we need to see. Okay, there we go. We'll do some of the regular shots first. Let his freeze resistance fall. And then... there we go. We might be in trouble. We might be in very big trouble. Well, the thing is, you can't actually get YOLO past your first mutation. So... if you already have one, you actually can't pick up YOLO for the second phase onward. You can only take YOLO if it's the very first one you pick. And then you can't even reroll that slot. That one gets permanently locked. for the rest of the run. You know, I think it would be better to settle the repeater crossbow thing a lot more patiently next stream when we have enough time to start up a full patient run. But we did actually finish our 4 BC tonight, so I'm sorry. It was decursion, right? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to test the repeater crossbow build another time. Really? Well, we have 2 things to verify next time. But it is getting late, and we have made wonderful progress, so next time we'll do a 5 BC run. And I have my promise for you. We will definitely do Dead Cells next week. 5 BC run this coming week. And we will go ahead and test that little yellow thing, as well as test out the repeater crossbow. We might, instead of a daily run, just do enough to get that first dark tracker. In fact, I'll actually leave it on a lower... Oh, wait. We already opened the door, so we have to leave the difficulty settings there. We'll go ahead and reset that to a lower difficulty, so that we can fight a dark tracker early on next stream, get that blueprint unlocked, test it out, and see if that is ample for our next 5 BC run. So, set that back to 3, I believe. And we'll be able to find dark trackers in Promenade. Indeed. Alright. I'll leave myself a little reminder, and we'll get back to that pretty soon. As usual, Sunday is a relaxation day, so no stream tomorrow, but I plan on having a very diverse week this coming week, since we will probably have to do programming streams not on Saturday, but sometime during the week. I'm going to go ahead and say programming stream during the week, probably on Tuesday, and we'll pick up a lot of different games for next week. Might not be watching the stream. The VODs will always be up, Harris, so do attend when you are available. You, again, have no obligations to be here every time, but I hope everything goes well for you. Same thing with you, boy. Everyone else in the chat. I hope you all have a very relaxed Sunday. I'm gonna go ahead and probably do a stream setup on Monday, and then probably program Tuesday. I can go ahead and introduce you all to strings and arrays, and their implementation in GameMaker Studio. Thursday, whatever, Friday will actually probably be a Guilty Gear tournament, as... Oh yeah, we might be in trouble. I might have 2 different people trying to book Strive tourneys on the same day, so we'll see how that turns out. Ah, the votes are neck and neck. It's 30-31 on if it's BlazBlue or Guilty Gear. If it's BlazBlue, then hopefully... Well, I mean, I'm hoping it's BlazBlue, so I can skip a BlazBlue tournament and do a different Friends Guilty Gear Strive tournament on that Friday, and then hopefully Strive again next Friday. Look forward to it. We'll see how the things go on, and I'll have a schedule for you on Sunday. You've all been a wonderful class, and this has been an exceptional week. Class is dismissed. Thank you everyone for your attendance. Skibbity whoop. As is the formality for any of our more dense streams. Thank you, Decursion. Boy. Harris, I hope everything goes well for you next week. Dragoon, welcome to the stream. I don't believe I've seen you yet. Pakin, I will be very excited to start Toho soon, but that will probably happen more towards mid or late March. But I'm as excited as you are. I love Toho. Leviathan, as always, thank you. Kayla, I think, has already made her departure. Longtran, thank you. And welcome to the class. Siphon, I do look forward to a very good lesson, probably on Tuesday. I'll commit to it. Cave, thank you for the raid. And everyone coming from Cave's side as well. Epic Loser, a bit out. Wow, we really had a populous stream tonight. Time of game, thank you. ETG, Res, wow, everyone went through here. ETG, Res, James, 3PO. This might have been one of my most popular streams so far. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Good night. I'm done.